This one move will save your hips and knees, and this has been used from ancient Shaolin warriors all the way to contemporary breakdancers and everybody in between. Let's get into it. You wanna know something crazy? As we warm up the hips and knees, I almost took a break from filming today, and then I was like, well, let me go to the computer and see if one thing just flashes on the screen, then I'll film today. And you know how whenever you take your mouse and you hover over the screen, little windows will pop up. Literally, the first thing that popped up was my notes, and it said that title on there. This one move will save your hips and knees. So I was like, okay, we got to do it. You guys are probably familiar with a lot of knee mobility and hip mobility movements. Well, like I said, this one has been used for a long time. This goes back to my martial arts practice for decades of time, doing something that's called stances. And this one here is phenomenal for building the hips and knees and keeping that elasticity so that you can have athletic longevity. And remember that without movement mastery, all the strength and flexibility is just vanity. And so we want to learn how to use our body holistically. Hear all that rhyme? That was pretty cool. Use these moves as a test, sort of a personal challenge to see where you're at. Our snake stance down here, I'm going to show you some different ways to also apply this to your training. And the first one is going to go right to holding that foot out in front and standing upright with that single leg squat. So you see, coming all the way down, being able to have the ankle mobility, the knee strength, the hip strength, to hold those positions gives you an advantage in developing some of those basic movements of strength like the single leg squat. And here's something interesting. A lot of times when people have knee problems, even to the point of having to have surgeries, it stems from a lack of flexibility in the hips and a lack of strength in the hips. And so what ends up happening is people will have kind of knock knees like this here. So even standing up straight, everything is very narrow. What this does is it starts to put pressure on the insides of the feet, and then this kind of caves in, and then people lose that arch in their foot. So it starts to cause all kinds of problems. Or other way, people have hips that are turned outwards like this. And so they can even fake their splits because their hips come out really wide like this, and they can come down like this and get really low. But then whenever they go to turn their hips and square everything up, then they're way up here because they're fighting against that hip joint and the mobility that's necessary. So that's one application of that snake stance. And what we want to do is be able to do this statically and also actively, and also be able to catch ourselves in this position as a balance, or to come up from the floor and be able to take that force and dynamically put it into that hip position at that extreme angle. We could take this and start putting it into motion. So of course there's the single leg squat, which comes all the way down, requiring that knee strength, that hip strength, that mobility in the lower back, and all of that stuff which is related to that snake stance. But then another one is being able to take this, and this is a super challenging position. And something I want to remind you of is to leave your wins and victories in the comments, but also don't mistake these videos for instruction, okay? Promise me that.
Great wins and victories already being posted. We got Ninja 8 Flash 742. Says they achieved 1 minute handstand and working on back handsprings and press handstands.
A 1 minute handstand. That's pretty significant.
Oh yeah.
And then you said back what?
Back handspring and press handstand. They're working on that.
Back handspring and a press handstand. Press handstand is going to require hip mobility. But good job, man, and thanks for posting that. Good work out there. I love hearing those things from people that watch the channel and from all of the students and everybody involved. Really good job. That takes a lot to get to a 1 minute long handstand and then a back handspring, which is like a handstand in motion, and a press handstand. So really good job. So this one is one move that we integrate into our training. You can see this all the way back. Did you ever watch Jackie Chan movies?
Yeah, I've seen some Jackie Chan, for sure.
Did you ever see, like, I remember him doing this one move like this. And then, or how did he do it? It was like,
oh.
It was like that. It was like a sweep into a V stand. And of course, that goes into breakdancing and gymnastics and all kinds of stuff. But we incorporate the circular motion of this into adult training, and we put it into kind of a setup where they're having to do 10, 20, 30. Last night we did a set of 100 of a particular move. But this one is one that's like, you might think, oh man, why do I need to do that? You know, why do I need to sweep my foot around like that? Just try it. Again, don't mistake videos for instruction, mine or otherwise. But coming down here, this one is a little different because we're up on the toes. So instead of being back here, shifting our weight back, and this is a nice clean way of holding the stance, heel down, all the toes pointing in the same direction, this leg locked. What happens is sometimes they can't get this knee straight because of that internal rotation of the hip. So you want to develop that. Or sometimes we're only coming down this far because of the lack of range. It just kind of sticks here. So it's coming all the way down. And then we can put our hands on the ground, but we want to shift up to the toes like this. We should be able to just stand here too without hands on the ground. And then this foot comes around and the hands replace our balance here. This leg is up and then this one jumps over and then we're landing back here, or we're doing multiple like that. And it's a really good training move. It's gonna push your strength, your flexibility, your movement, and your cardio all simultaneously. And it might be one of those things that's like, you might feel really uncomfortable or awkward working these kind of movements, but the advantage for your overall health and athletic longevity is kind of indescribable. And so we put these and combine these into routines of movement that we call katas, that we use for level advancement, or we'll do couplets where we take that move and maybe we do 10 on one direction and then we'll do another move, and then we'll do 10 on the other side and we'll do another move. And so combining those together into kind of a mini training regime, and we should always be switching up our training regimes, not doing the same thing. Because if you sit here doing something like this for hundreds of reps to build it, and then you keep doing it and you stay at that level, then your pendulum swinging completely the opposite way, where you're gonna end up with tendonitis and stuff. The same like too many push-ups or climbing the rope too much or too many pull-ups. If you're doing that all the time, then you're gonna develop chronic injuries. So you wanna be leveling up from there, okay? So an example of leveling this up would be taking that sweep and going backwards around that way, okay? And of course doing both like that. So this is testing coordination, whole body movement, all the mechanics working together. And then we can even go up from there into one hand, like that. Lots of pressure sitting into that hip, sitting into that knee, resting on that ankle, and adapting your body over time.
And Joseph Hall, 1625, says he learned to aim for finishing training on a high note.
That's good. And that's what I want you guys to do with your training, is make sure that you're number one, making that shift from the mindset of working out to training, and then not just getting through your sets and reps as though it's a chore, but you might work in a really high volume one day. You might try 100, 200, 300 tries of a particular move. And then that's adapting your body and changing it. And then if you hit one that's really good, just stop at that point and then come back to it the next day, and your body's gonna remember that. So it's a whole different paradigm. Now, a third way that this stance can be applied to your overall training and movement comes directly from martial arts, and you might have seen this one too, where you are coming down to a snake stance, shifting to those toes, and then sweeping around that direction, or this way. So being able to get down low and compress. And that's a whole other aspect of training your body, which has to do with level changes. So think about it. When's the last time you incorporated movement that went from the ground all the way up and then all the way back down? For example, this doesn't just relate to martial arts, it's just good, wholesome movement. So a spinning kick, it's a sweep, it's a spinning kick. Or the other side, spinning kick, sweep, and then going airborne. So medium, low, and all the way high. Whew. It's a lot talking and doing moves and talking, doing moves, talking.
Yeah, now people can tell you actually have some cardio going. They say that's a zone. When you get to a zone and you can't actually talk, you've hit a zone of cardio. That's specific. I forget what zone it is though.
Yeah, it's like you can keep moving and but the talking's gonna be like real quick and short and
yeah.
All that stuff. So another level change. So being able to use those hips and knees and getting down low, but again, just coming down here, extending, arms going straight, static holds, those nasty static holds that you just sit there and deal with the pain for 1, 3, 5 minutes, being able to shift smoothly and hold 1, 3, 5 minutes at a time. And that, my friend, my fellow strength ninja, is how you save your hips and knees. Contemporary break dancers